Hi, I'm Elaine, and my website is countryhomeandheart.net, and I want to talk to y'all a little bit today about Southern Sunday dinner. Now, a tradition that we have, and I have pretty much had all my life growing up, was on Sundays, we always had our larger meal of the day immediately after church, and it was always something special that we didn't get through the week. My mother usually fixed a roast, or she would fix fried chicken. Sometimes she'd get a ham. We had a little store on the corner, and it was ran by a man named Mr. Kelsey. And Mr. Kelsey had a wife that loved to cook. And Mrs. Kelsey would have all kinds of cakes, and she'd have pies, she'd have all kinds of different meats that they would sell in that little store. And she would have, every now and again, she'd have a ham. And my mother always said that she made the best ham of anyone she ever knew. So we'd get that ham sometimes, and then we'd get what we used to call a round bone roast. And unfortunately, you can't get round bone roasts anymore. But the round bone roast had a little bone about yay big in the middle. Dogs love those bones. And that they called them round bone roasts. And Mr. Kelsey had some really nice ones. And my dad would go in there to get one of those roasts for Sunday. And Mr. Kelsey would hold that roast up and go, "That's mighty fine eating." So that's what I remember most about that. But today I'm doing a traditional Sunday dinner. And I have in this pot, I have some potatoes that I just started cooking. And then in this pot over here, I have some green beans. And over here, I have some corn. And I have some rolls. I confess I did not make these rolls. I bought these frozen already, but we're going to have these rolls. They're yeast raised rolls. They're really good. And then for my main dish, I have put in, this is a chuck roast. And the recipe that I use, it makes its own gravy. So we're going to have that chuck roast and that gravy in a little while. And let me tell you how I did the chuck roast. Now with the chuck roast, I just put it in my crock pot early this morning. I think I started this about 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30. And to that, I just salted it and added a little salt and pepper to taste. And I added 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, and I added another can of cream of onion soup. Then, just for good measure, I threw in some envelope of mushroom gravy mix and just mixed that all together and threw it in. Cut up an onion. I was out of carrots. Usually I put carrots in that, but I didn't have any carrots. I ran out. So we're just going to have the onions with this. But after a few hours, this is what it comes out like. So this is always ready for me whenever we got home from church, and I just had to cook the side dishes. So when this comes up and gets ready, we'll plate this all up, and I will show you what it looks like on the plate. And also, when the potatoes are done, I will show you how I make my cream cheese mashed potatoes. So we'll be back in a bit. Okay, our potatoes are done, and just to show you what they look like, see, they're just plain. These were red potatoes that I just peeled and cut into chunks, and I boiled until they got tender. Those are tender, so we're going to go ahead and mash these up. I'm going to show you how to make my cream cheese mashed potatoes. So what I have in this plate, I have maybe 3 tablespoons or so of cream cheese, and I have a few pats of butter that I'm going to be adding. Also, I'm going to add salt and pepper to taste. So let me open this up, and I typically don't measure this. I kind of just use my hand, and I have maybe a teaspoon of salt in my hand, and I'm just going to put that in the potatoes. And I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. Okay, and now all I'm going to do is add that cream cheese and that butter. Okay, let me put the lid back on that salt. Now, plain old potato masher. I'm probably one of the few people that still uses these, but I love my potato masher. I'd rather use that as I had used a mixer with these. Okay, so we're just going to go into these now. And let me see if I can bring this a little closer so you can see. Okay. All right, now I'm just gonna mash these potatoes. Just using the potato masher. Now the only thing with this you have to be careful with as far as the cream cheese goes, you can't use too much cream cheese, because if you use too much cream cheese, it'll act just like it did if you put milk in it, and they will be soupy. I did that one time, didn't realize it. I thought I was going to put in a lot of cream cheese because I like it. Well, I put in too much, and my potatoes came out looking like gravy. In fact, somebody thought they were gravy. But they turned out good with about the amount that I showed you. Now these were very small red potatoes, so I don't really know how many I used, but I kind of just base it on how much I think my husband and I'll eat, and then if I have any left over, I'll either make potato pancakes the next day, or I will put them in the freezer in a container, and we'll just microwave them and have them another time. Okay, so there they are. And so we're just going to put the lid on these, and so they'll stay warm. Let me taste this real quick so I know that I got my seasoning right and we don't need to add any more salt. They're good. They're real good. They don't need any salt. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid back on them. I'm going to put just a little more pepper on the top. My husband likes pepper. Okay, I just put the lid on them. I'm going to set them back over near the stove so they'll stay warm. And we'll be back when I get everything plated up and taken back out. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, I have our dinner all plated up, and this is our Sunday dinner. And you see here I have rolls. I have 2 for my husband and 1 for me. Then I have my mashed potatoes and gravy, and I have my green beans and some corn. And here is the roast beef, and I'm going to be serving that up in just a moment. And here's more gravy if my husband wants any. So there you have it. And I have I'll have iced tea to drink, and I have some of the black walnut pound cake that I made in yesterday's video that we may have for dessert. And there you have it. So we're going to eat, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.